British leaders targeted as horrific attack expected on US. November 17, 2008 by Sorka Faal and as reported to her Western subscribers. I've sourced this off of whatdoesitmean.com, so if you'd rather read it rather than listen to me read it, then go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to read it now. It is. I'll also put the link up to your top right. Under more info, you'll see a hyperlink. Now just click on that. That's where you can read it for yourself. Underneath the hyperlink to my channel, which is Thank You White Knights. Now, for the article. Russian military analysts are reporting to Prime Minister Putin today that British leaders Gordon Brown and Tony Blair have both survived assassination attempts by what are being described as right-wing factions within Israel's National Intelligence Agency, Mossad, Lee Modi, In Ul, Tafkadim, Mayu Hadim, and in brackets Mossad, and I'll just call it Mossad from now on. The first attack, these reports say, was made against former British Prime Minister Blair and current international envoy to West Asia, who, while leaving Israel this past week, was fired upon by an assailant who was then in turn killed by one of the security agents protecting him. Western news reports are continuing their suppression of the true facts of this attack and are reporting that the attack against Blair at Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion International Airport was instead an incident caused by one of his security guards accidentally firing his weapon. The second and more serious attack was an assassination attempt against the current British Prime Minister Gordon Brown during his visit this past weekend to the US for the G20 summit, when another right-wing Israeli zealot threw a grenade and fired shots during an assassination attempt while Brown was exiting the Waldorf Astoria hotel, where he had been staying and meeting with top American economic officials. Western news reports are likewise continuing their suppression of this attack too, and are stating that the assassination attempt on Brown's life was an attempted robbery of a jewelry store at the Waldorf Astoria by an Israeli attacker identified as Raphael Rabinovich, but which reports don't even attempt to explain the grenade explosion, which witnesses to the attack such as Christine Cataldo described as it sounded like a bomb, one big boom. Even more perplexing of these Western reports to the attack against Brown at the Waldorf Astoria is their failure to explain how any attacker could enter the most prestigious hotel in New York at the exact time it was being inhabited by nearly every foreign leader in the Western world attending the G20 summit, protected by their formidable security details, and not even to mention those security and intelligence forces under the control of the United States. Russian military reports, however, state that these attacks against Blair and Brown are attempts by right-wing Israeli forces and their American Nazi-backed allies to destroy the planned Blair-backed attempt to force Israel to return to its 1967 borders, and which the new American President Barack Obama has signed onto as the first step towards instituting a permanent peace in the Middle East. It is important to note that the right-wing Zionist forces have long cooperated with their Nazi enemies in the establishment of Israel and the continued destruction of the Palestinian peoples, and as best described by Zionist leader Chaim Weizmann, who in 1937 explained his organization's cooperation with the German Nazis by stating, "The hopes of Europe's 6 million Jews are cantered on emigration, that is. I was asked, can you bring 6 million Jews to Palestine? I replied, no. From the depths of tragedy, I want to save young people for Palestine. The old ones will pass. They will bear their fate or they will not. They are dust, economic and moral dust in a cruel world. Only the branch of the young shall survive. They have to accept it. To the current cruel world, however, facing these Zionists and threatening to turn them into economic and moral dust, like they consigned millions of their people to during World War II, the currently embattled Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert has warned his nation and called upon them to return to their 1967 borders, but to which the expected new to be Prime Minister Tzipi Livni is stating there will be no agreeing to the new Obama-led efforts at peace in the Middle East. Further adding to the woes of right-wing Israeli forces, and as we had previously reported on in our November 11th report, Obama tells US military to prepare for rapid destruction of Israel. These latest failed attempts to derail what Russian intelligence analysts state is our world's last chance for lasting peace are turning our world towards an inevitable collision with total and open global warfare that will ensure their destruction. Even now, the ominous warnings of the new and horrific attacks designed as the catalyst for total global war by these hidden forces are circling the globe, as we can read. These are all hyperlinked, these next 6 odd sentences, or quote. An Israeli intelligence site claimed Sunday that US President-elect Barack Obama, European and Russian heads of states in Washington G20 conference were briefed over the weekend about a probable early al-Qaeda attack. Israeli intelligence news site Debka also claimed that Obama and his team have been advised that a new al-Qaeda strike is highly probable in the United States or against a key US target in Europe, North Africa or the Middle East. The Debka claim coincided with a regional intelligence report that Israeli Mossad and Indian RAW regional chiefs have held an important meeting in a European capital and discussed possible preparatory reaction to a new mystery yet to unfold. Regional watchers have also cautioned against fast-growing strategic and secret cooperation between certain foreign elements in the neighborhood of Pakistan. Debka report claimed that Al-Qaeda's Yemen base, a reliable barometer for Osama bin Laden's schemes, issued a directive to all fighters in Arabia on November 9, presaging a major operation in the United States that will change the political and economic world and be far bigger than 9/11. Israeli source claimed that the Al-Qaeda notice said the operation is very near, and precise instructions were in the hands of the fighters who are already on their way to America, armed with bin Laden's orders. Most important about these latest warnings, these reports continue, and which is virtually unknown to the American people, are that warnings issued from the Osama bin Laden-backed Al-Qaeda terror organization are actually those issued by the Nazi-backed dissident forces within the CIA and who created Al-Qaeda to begin with, to further their destruction of the United States as the world's last superpower. Not being understood by the American people about these events is that though Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda have been blamed for the 9/11 attacks upon their nation and the reasons for their wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, their own government has nearly actually accused or charged them with being responsible. And as the FBI wanted poster for bin Laden freely admits, and as we can read, Osama bin Laden is wanted in connection with the August 7, 1998 bombings of the United States embassies in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and Nairobi, Kenya. These attacks killed over 200 people. In addition, bin Laden is a suspect in other terrorist attacks throughout the world. However, the ignorance of the American about bin Laden has not carried through to President-elect Obama, quite the contrary, as he has repeatedly vowed that upon taking office, bin Laden and Al-Qaeda would be his top priority for destruction, and which in US code speak is a declaration of war upon the Nazi-backed forces in his own nation, centered in the CIA, and who no one is expecting to go down without a vicious fight. Okay, so that's the article, and if you want more like this, just go to which is what I specialize in, on my YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com/thankyouwhite-knights, or go to the hyperlink on the top left-hand side of your screen. You'll see Thank You White Knights. Thanks.